Hello and welcome to another edition of Lab Rats. My name is Andy Walker.
I'm Sean Carruthers.
And today on the show, it's my favorite show of the year, Windows 7. Windows 7 is just imminent any day now. I know, come on back, Snow Leopard Boy. Come on, it's not going to be that bad. In fact, it's really good news. So, of course, for those of you who lived under a rock or, have got friendly with leopards and tigers, Windows 7 is the next version of the next operating system from Microsoft. And it will be out October 22nd, 2009.
Yay.
So it could be already out by the time you see this.
Maybe.
And so today on the show, we're just going to kind of ignore Sean. I'm just going to show you all the cool new features. You okay with that?
You know, I actually kind of like Windows 7.
I know you do.
For the most part.
I know. We're actually kind of Windows 7 fanboys, which is,
I wouldn't call myself a fan.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Anyway, so today on the show, super fun features on first looks of Windows 7. So we're going to show you some of the features that sort of struck us when we first booted up Windows 7 and started using the new operating system.
Very good.
So that is, are you excited?
Yeah,
Yes, you are.
I'm
He
excited
is.
about this.
Windows 7, super hot, fun
I'm
tips.
Thrilled. I'm super thrilled.
After this. So in case you didn't catch the first bit of the show, we're really excited about Windows 7. It's coming out real soon, October 22nd, and we love it.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh well, what can we do? So I'm going to take you through a few key features that we noticed, that I noticed, and that I think you probably concur.
I noticed a few of these.
He's going to play the I hate Windows thing a little bit, just because I play the I hate Mac thing, right? So.
Yeah, secretly I like Windows 7 quite a bit, and I know he likes Mac more than he lets on.
Yeah,
but we'll just let him.
We'll keep playing the roles.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about, this is one of the things under the hood that I think is really important to mention, and that the Vista haters will absolutely adore, and that is that Windows 7 really is what Vista should have been out of the box 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago.
Yay.
Right? And the key point being it's much faster.
Yes.
It is more stable, right? It is just, it's what Vista should have been.
It is.
But so Microsoft's, late to the party, okay, fair enough. But so it boots 50% faster.
Yes.
Like my machine now boots in 30 seconds. Less than 30
Vista
seconds.
took how long? Like a
minute, sometimes a minute and a half, sometimes longer, depending on. My wife has a 64-bit version of Windows Vista on her laptop, a minute and 20 seconds.
Yeah, back in the day, we did an episode where someone said that their Vista on their machine was so slow and they were thinking of switching to Mac, and we suggested, well, maybe just wait a little bit.
Yeah.
Or they were actually thinking of buying a brand new machine, and we said, wait a minute, because Vista 7's coming out and it'll solve that problem, and it has.
Vista 7?
Vista 7, Windows Vista 7. It's Vista with all the crap taken out.
It is improved. No, it really is. I mean, honestly, but that's a good thing, right? So, the promise of Vista was very enticing. When it came out, it was a disappointment. So here we have a new operating system that's basically what it should have been, what Vista should have been. So I want to take you through a couple other things besides the performance improvements. Actually, no, before we move on, one other thing. You can run this system on old hardware, a multi-core old hardware, even a Pentium 4, and get good performance out of it.
I'm running it on this. This is not even a core machine.
It's an EPC, isn't it?
This is an Acer Aspire 1 that's running an Atom processor, like one of the mobile processors.
Right.
And it runs pretty well on this. It's actually a really nice implementation of Windows. It's really stripped back, and it runs speedy, even on low-end machines.
Right. Leading me to think that I think this is going to be a hit. But
I think it probably will be for people that were looking at Vista and going,
from a performance perspective.
yeah, it'll win back the people that Vista turned off.
Right. Good. And speaking of which, one of the biggest complaints about Windows Vista was this new thing that you put in place to kind of quell the spyware and the viruses called user account control. You might have seen it, when you click on something to change the system or install software, you get a boop pop-up, and
you want to do that?
Are you sure you want to do that?
Sure.
And it seemed to happen every time you wanted to do anything. So in Vista, there was only it was three options. One, turn it off, which was dangerous.
Not safe, unless you really know what you're doing, and even then, you can get hit from a sneak attack.
Right. Two, leave it on, right, and put up with it.
Not a good option.
Or three, if you happen to be a little geeky, there's something called Tweak UAC, which is a free program that you could use to make it go silent. So you could turn it off for an administrator, but leave it on for like users, like with lower permissions on the system.
So you as the administrator wouldn't get annoyed by it, but your kids who are trying to install a bunch of garbage on the machine would get that bink, bink, bink.
Again, not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
Are you okay there, Matt?
Yep.
Tripping.
I don't know what that was.
That's right.
That corner over there is dangerous. We had Matt fall over something there earlier.
Anyway, on Windows 7, UAC has been tweaked a little bit, and I want to show you a little bit about that. So,
does it actually require your password before it'll install anything now?
No, not if you don't want it to. So if you click on Change User Account Settings, which is, by the way, a feature that's very prominent. You don't have to go digging for this feature. It's right there. There is a box here. It says choose to be notified about changes to your computer, and you have 4 settings. And setting number 1 is the maximum. It's like the Vista setting. You should call it the Vista setting, right? Everything, right? So when programs try to install software or make changes to my computer, bug me. And if I make changes to Windows settings, bug me. It's full on, all on. And then, of course, the off button, which, of course, turns everything off.
Bad idea.
Not recommended. Microsoft says as much here. So you just don't, it doesn't exist. There's 2 in-between pieces now, so there's actually technically 2 new settings. One is, don't notify me when I make changes to the Windows settings, but notify me when programs make changes to the computer.
So if you're initiating it by going there physically and you try to make a change, it won't bother you because it knows you're trying to do that. But if it's something in the background, it does it.
Correct, exactly.
Okay.
And then the slightly elevated version of that, which is notify me only when my programs try to make changes to my computer, right? But don't notify me when I make changes to the Windows settings.
Okay.
Right? So it's, one's turned on, one's turned off sort of thing. So it's basically nothing, right? Basic background stuff. And then software doesn't bug, but I am when I change settings, and then both of those things on.
Okay, I'm not hearing password in here anywhere.
You still have to hit a password so it's the settings. When I try to make a change to my system settings, I'm going to be asked for a password.
You are? Okay. Because
So
in Vista, one of the things that bothered me about this and worried me from a security perspective is every time you went in there and tried to make a change, it would say, are you sure you want to do this? You need administrator privileges to do this. And you click yes.
Yeah, we still have to do that.
Right?
If you really want to do something that requires an administrator privilege, right, that's a natural defense against viruses. So
yeah, but all you'd have to do is click OK and it would do it.
Okay, well, fair enough. So UAC is, of course, a little bit more granular now, and that's a good thing, I think. The other thing I want to talk about is the interface. So Vista has talked about a brand new, pretty interface, and they've actually kind of pared that back a bit. It's still, you have transparent windows and that sort of thing. Not as memory intensive anymore. What it does have, though, is a new interface piece called gestures. And I want to show you how that works. So I'm going to take a window here, and what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to take the window and I'm going to drag it all the way up to the top of the screens, like this, and it's going to maximize.
Okay.
Okay, so that's just kind of a thing. Just, if you get something that's not the right size, you want to maximize it, just drag it to the top.
Drag it up.
Okay. Another one would be to, again, take the window, drag it to the right, take it off the screen until you get a little half window. Let go of that. Now it's half window. And the nice thing about that is if I get another feature here, let's see if I can get another window going over here, then I can move this on the right-hand side, and I get a half screen there, and now I've got a nice side-by-side, evenly distributed kind of window, right?
Okay.
Windows, a set of windows. And just makes it so easy to organize your desktop.
Okay. Is that turned on by default, or do you have to actually
It's all
switch
turned
that
on by default, yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And then finally, one thing I did want to think is some new thing called shake. So if you have a whole bunch of windows up, it's kind of like that. If you grab one of the windows and you shake it, what happens is all the windows behind go away, and it just makes the window that you're shaking dominate. So it's like, I just want this one.
Yeah.
Right? Now you want all.
So it's like you're erasing everything behind it.
Yeah. And if I do it again, the other windows could pop back on.
So I don't want to be distracted by everything else, just this one.
Just this one, exactly.
Okay.
So it's a nice little feature. Microsoft's built in some touch functionality on this. I don't think touch is ready for prime time yet in Windows 7. We'll talk about that at a future episode.
Yeah.
But just the idea of quick ways to organize your desktop, I think that's...
Yeah, so we can see,
wow.
potentially when we have touch-sensitive screens, you can just grab the window and wiggle it with your finger, and away it goes.
Exactly.
The other ones.
There is a new network feature. Networking is a bit of voodoo, right?
Yeah, it's always a bit of a pain.
It's a bit of a pain.
Vista did actually make it better than it was before. That's one of the things that Vista did get right.
Right.
I think, anyways.
It improved the network. You had a networking panel, and it made life a little bit easier to connect and that sort of thing. But it still was difficult to kind of, for me to share a file with you across the network. But on home network, what they've done is created something called home group. And home group is kind of a setting. It's like a club that you join with other Windows 7 machines. It's not compatible with XP or Vista yet. Maybe never. We don't know. But it would be nice to see those guys actually get a little client to allow this to happen.
Yeah, so just install a program and away you go, theoretically.
That would be nice. Future. Yeah, but as long as all Windows 7 systems are on your home network, what happens is you become part of this home group. And a home group is basically an approved club, right, of people on the network that can share things. So the nice thing about home group is, I'm going to go to fire it up here and show you what it looks like. It's an easy way to share files. So as you can see on this, I'm going to use my new gesture to maximize here. So it says, I've chosen to share pictures, documents, music, printers, and videos, right? All turned on by default. So that means that you can easily find that content on my system by browsing the network, right? And then I can exclude folders or exclude sections of my hard drive and that sort of thing fairly easily as well. One of the things I know you like on this is something called an ISO burner.
I like ISO burners.
So why don't you explain what an ISO is?
Well, when you download files over the internet, for example, you get the new version of Ubuntu, which you're going to replace your copy of Windows 7 with. You can actually put the, it comes on something called an ISO file. ISO for International Standards Organization, but it is the generic format, .iso, that contains the entirety of the disk. And what you do is you put it into, you download it, and then open up a program that'll burn disks, and it'll recognize ISO as a disk and master it with the boot and all of the other stuff that comes with ISO and a regular CD, CD-ROM or DVD-ROM.
So it is a bit of a geek kind of
It's a geeky sort of thing, but if you want to recreate a disk that's bootable and can do install your programs and all that, you need an ISO file.
Right. Well, this comes with a little application here called Windows Burner. Is it Disk Burner or Windows Burner? I can't remember. Burner. Fire it up here. Just go this way. Do it this way. I'm going to go to a file. I'm going to right-click on it. I'm going to say Send to, Open with, and Windows Burner. Right. So it automatically will say, oh, you want to burn this to a disk.
And you know what? Actually, you can even just click on the file, and it automatically recognizes ISO files now too.
Oh, very cool.
So you don't even really need to, unless you have installed another program that'll burn DVDs, in which case it might take over the preference on that.
Right.
But if you haven't installed any DVD burning software yet,
right,
it'll know how to do it automatically out of the box. Just click on the file.
Right. It's a nice little feature. It used to cost you some money to do that. So, okay. Finally, I wanted to talk a little bit about this new XP emulator. So, XP, all the organizations, business organizations stuck with XP, they skip Vista. And I think that Microsoft has engineered this XP emulator in Windows 7. So the idea is that you have an old XP desktop, you have lots of programs that run on it, you want to migrate to Windows 7, but you're nervous because these old applications may not work on Windows 7, right? So what they've done is they've built in this functionality which allows you to run an XP application in an XP environment, so like a pretend fake version of XP in a window, right? There's a downside to this. There's a couple of downsides to this, and it's not easy to do, unfortunately. It's really designed for business and not for the end user, which is a shame. So first of all, you have to determine whether or not your your Intel processor can handle virtualization. So there's a little application you download called the Intel Processor Identification Utility, which I have right here. And if you click on the CPU tab, CPU technology, you'll see whether it says Intel virtualization technology, is it available on the chip on your system? If the answer is yes, then you're good to go. If the answer is no, then you're out of luck.
Yeah, so this is different from the feature that we had in Windows before where you could right-click on something and run as
it's compatibility
Windows
mode.
95.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
so.
compatibility mode is still there, and that's available for everybody. This virtualization technology for the XP mode is only available in the Pro or the Ultimate version of the product.
Okay.
Right, and I think it's really designed for the for the enterprise user. Right. So first of all, I have to check to see if that's on, and then you have to install a virtual PC piece of software, and then an XP mode software on top of that.
No deal.
So it's a bit of an effort, right? It's a bit of an effort. That said, if you're determined to do it, and you have a little bit of sophistication and you know what you're doing, you can. But I'm kind of disappointed. It should have been built in, I think, natively.
The good news is that it's free, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
and
it's free.
You don't have to spend like $99 on a copy of Parallels Workstation or one of those other programs like VMware that will actually run other operating systems in guest mode.
Yeah.
It's available right there as long as you have the CPU and that client downloaded.
I think it was a business reason why they did that. And I say business from Microsoft's good business. The idea is they don't want you to stick with the XP applications. They want to make it easy for XP applications. They want to make it available if you desperately need it. But if it's native, why would you ever upgrade anything? Right? So I think it was probably determined on their part.
I think there were a whole lot of people that avoided the stinkfest that was Vista and just stuck with XP long past its theoretical expiration date.
Yeah.
Just because of that. So this is a very smart move.
Right. So before we go to break, bottom line, Windows 7, yes or no?
Switch to Mac.
Yeah, you would say that. Of course, you would say that. And I would say absolutely. It's a must buy. This is a must buy, especially if you've stuck with XP and you're holding off buying a new machine. Windows 7 is sort of Vista done right. If you have Vista, you're going to want to move from Vista to Windows 7 just to get the performance boost and a couple of the other features as well.
You know what? I do agree with that. If you're a Windows person and you want to stay with Windows, absolutely, it's a must-have upgrade, especially from Vista. If you got stuck with Vista, God, upgrade now.
There you go.
Here's the question though: how much? How much does it cost?
There's a varying variety of price points.
Really? Is it $39?
No, it's not. But it's not an incremental upgrade like Apple Snow Leopard Tiger thing.
Seems like it to me.
No, it's not essentially an improvement. Anyway, we'll put a link to all the pricing here. $99 is your basic upgrade price, and it goes up from there. All right, well, let's take a break, and when we come back, a little preview of one of the other shows on Butterscotch.com, and, of course, Picture Time. That's after this. Well, we're going to be doing a lot of coverage of Windows 7 on Butterscotch.com. There's zillions of tutorials lined up. We did an early series on RC1, Release Candidate 1. It's there on the site as we record this. But I know that Andrew Moore-Crispin, our web editor, has been working really hard with our tutorial creators to do a lot of Windows 7 coverage to give you all the best tips and tricks and teachings that you need to run Windows 7 effectively.
We've only got 20 minutes here, but they've got forever.
They've got forever, exactly. So check out Butterscotch.com, and we're going to have a little preview of one of those right now, so you can get a taste of it. But once it's done, go on over to Butterscotch.com and look them up, because there's going to be lots of stuff there for you.
Welcome on deck. I'm Matt Harris.
Hi, I'm Jay Goldman.
Welcome to the A-List. Hi, welcome to Miss Download.
Another thing you can do is define what the power buttons do. Now, in the early days of computers, when you touched the power button, the PC went off, which I'm sure was the cause for many a hard drive failure. But here, you can say that when I push the power button, the computer sleeps, hibernates, or does nothing. And when you press the sleep button, which is available on some PCs and a number of keyboards, you can either sleep, or hibernate, or do nothing.
All right, well, don't forget, go over to Butterscotch.com to see that, all of our Windows 7 coverage over the next few weeks. And now on to Picture Time.
Now, I've got a question for you first, before we move on.
Okay.
We talked about people that are sticking with XP because Vista was so stinky, going to Windows 7.
Yes.
What upgrade path do they have?
Install Windows 7 on top of XP and make it go away?
No. I just want to take my Windows XP, put the Windows 7 disk in.
I'm glad you brought this up, because this is a criticism, I think, a reasonable. I think there's an engineering reason behind it. Basically, what's happened is, if you have Windows XP and you want to install Windows 7 on top of it, it's going to wipe out Windows XP.
Wait.
All of your data.
Wait. There's stuff on there I want to keep.
Right. So make sure you back up everything on XP that you want to keep. You have to do a fresh install. Now, there is an engineering reason for this, and that is that
Microsoft wants you to spend money on Vista first, so you can upgrade twice?
Yeah, potentially. No, the idea is that there are all kinds of XP applications that just do not work on Vista or Windows 7.
But
so
we have the virtualization chip thingamabob.
But that's hard to do. That's for the geeks. It's very strategic on Microsoft's part, but no. So it's a big warning here. If you're an XP user and you want to go to Windows 7, you're going to have to back up your personal data, get hold of all of the disks that may or may not work on Windows 7 for the programs, do a clean install of Windows 7, then put your data back on. So that is a big downside.
I think the engineering reason for this was to bump up the sales of either hard drive manufacturers, external hard drive manufacturers, or computer manufacturers, for people that say, screw it, I'm just going to buy a new machine.
Well, they should, ultimately. They should.
It's a pain in the butt, though.
It is a pain in the butt. But anyway, reasonable and fair comment.
Yeah, so the people are saying, well, it's XP is like how old now? It was introduced in 2001, so we're pushing a decade on this thing already. So logically, you do want to wipe it clean and start again from scratch anyhow at this point.
Yeah.
At the same point, you do want an upgrade path, and there's a lot of people that just stayed the heck away from Vista. So it is disappointing, but I understand the point. I understand it from both sides.
Besides, if you haven't given any Microsoft money for 10 years, then you should right now. No. Okay.
No.
All right, picture time.
Picture time. We
Yeah.
have a couple of pictures today, and I swear I did not plan this for this episode. It just, the way it came in the queue.
Okay.
We got this from Jordan, who's in Chilliwack, and he's giving the thumbs up. And you know why? He's
Why?
saying, Max rule!
Okay. I have nothing to say about that.
Well, there's not much you can do to rebut that claim.
No.
Max do rule.
Especially
fact.
if they have leopards and tigers in them.
Yes.
Right.
And we also have a picture of Jordan's setup here. So he has the MacBook.
Right.
There we go.
Okay.
A nice
Yeah.
dose of Mac. A nice dose of the
Hooray.
better choice here on this Windows 7 episode.
Very good. Okay. Whatever.
He said, playing up the part.
Thank you. All right, well, that's it for us this week. If you want to find out more about this episode or any other episode, you can visit butterscotch.com. We have zillions of shows over there, lots of tutorials, more than 1,400 pieces of video as we speak right now.
That's a ton.
That's amazing. In a year's time, we've done that. Windows 7 links are in our show notes. And that's it, I think.
That is pretty much
That's
it.
it. All right. Well, thanks for pushing play this week. It'd be foolish for us to be here if you weren't out there. My name's Andy Walker.
I'm John Carruthers.
Go buy Windows 7. It's awesome.
Switch to Mac.
See you next week.
Are you ready? Try this at home.
And it's... I like my bonuses.
Speaking of which, where's mine?
Your bonus? You don't get a bonus.
What?
I quit.
Thank God, finally.